All right, Miss Sandy Johnson. Thank you for coming on to the Empty Crypt. It is a pleasure and a true honor to have you here. So, for the people who been under a rock the last, some odd years, and for people who may not know who you are, can you give us a little insight exactly who you are and what you do?
All right, I am Sandy Johnson. I'm an actress, and I played Judith Myers in the original Halloween, Michael Myers' older sister. I was also in Playboy in 1974, and I've done several other films back in the 70s and 80s.
Nice, nice. So just jumping right into it because obviously I think Halloween is probably one of my favorite franchises ever. I mean, so how does it feel to be a part of such an iconic franchise?
It is truly amazing because there can only be one Judith Myers, the original, and that is extremely cool to be who they picked. And now the franchise, it's international fan base, so it's extremely cool, and I'm really proud to be part of the franchise.
For sure. Like, it's like your legacy. I just don't want to say like your legacy will be Halloween, but like that franchise is so well known across the world. And a lot of people, like, you have a lot to do with like a lot of people's fears because Michael essentially could have been anyone. So kind of walk us through, how did that audition process go for you becoming Judith Myers?
I was called by my agency, which at the time was the Playboy agency, and they said that there was a horror movie being filmed and they needed someone to be a victim, and that victim would be topless. So they wanted me to know that. And so I went, they were actually filming some of the scenes in the house when I was being interviewed. It was in a different part of the house, but I could hear, some of it going on. But John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, I believe they were both in there, as well as some other people in the interview. And they had me read several different parts, and then they had me scream, which was interesting. It was a residential neighborhood, and I thought, wow, that's I was just thinking, what are the neighbors thinking? But then I realized that they were actually filming it already, so I guess the neighbors were used to it by then.
Nice.
So anyway, it went well, and they said, we'll let you know. And I think in a day or two, the agency called me and said that I had been cast as Judith.
Nice. Now, like, so were your family and friends supportive of you being in a horror movie? Because I mean, up to then though, you were already doing Playboy. So how were they when you got announced that you were going to be in a horror movie?
My mother was my biggest fan always. It really didn't matter. She thought I was wonderful at everything. So she was just a wonderful lady and a wonderful fan, and she wouldn't have cared really what it was if it made me happy. So I was blessed with that. My father was already deceased, so he didn't know. And I had a couple sisters that were real happy and a couple that thought, I don't know. so,
For
so I'm
sure.
kind of a split fan base in the family.
For sure. But I mean, as always though, like I think everybody will appreciate, what you brought to the table for a Halloween franchise. So kind of just jumping off of that, like, so how did you get your start into acting?
I actually started in middle school with drama and dance production. I originally wanted to be a dancer, so I took a combination of drama and dance and choreography and all of those sort of things. When I graduated high school, I went on and took a number of workshops at the college level and at the studios and improv and all of those. And I did Playboy because my dad was really, really sick and I needed money. And after I did Playboy, I started to get a lot of calls. So again, it was a Playboy agency. So the other films that I did were actually all comedies. And so anyway, it was a lot of fun. I loved it. And then I think I did three or four films, I guess, besides Halloween. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And after all these years, I'm excited to be back doing it again.
Nice, nice. Now, so I know, like, you got your start, in middle school and all that good stuff, but also you have a PhD as well. So how how stressful was that? Was trying to go to school, act, and become, have your master's and your PhD?
Well, actually, I wasn't acting then. When my parents died, I was actually very depressed, and I was married, and we actually moved to Oregon to kind of get over it all. That didn't last, and then I moved to Texas to be with my sister. It was a big loss for me losing both of my parents before I was even 25. I was very close to both of them. So I took a change of venue. I actually became a special education teacher, and I taught that for a long time. And then I got my PhD so that I could teach at the college level, which I did for several years. And then I became a director of education for Wildlife Conservation Center. So I've done a lot of different things. And so now I'm after my agent found me and the fans started saying, well, why don't you make another movie? So I thought, well, you know what? I'm not dead yet. Let's do this.
Right. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I mean, if it wasn't for acting and being, well, first of all, Playboy, like that is phenomenal. So congratulations to that for you
Thank
as
you.
well. Like, so how was that? So was it nerve-wracking at first to know, like, I'm gonna have to be topless, millions of people are gonna see me. So how was that?
Well, my focus was, of course, you have to remember this was a time I lived in California, and I mean, everything on the beach was very risque. So you were almost naked anyway. So it wasn't that much of a jump. But my focus was really my dad. And I worked with fabulous photographers, Mario Casilli, who's very famous Playboy photographer. He was amazing. I mean, he just put me at ease. He was just wonderful. The set designers were great. It was such a beautiful set, and I don't know, it was just, they made it easy for me. Never felt uncomfortable at any of the shoots. It was always lovely. So yeah, that was not hard. Back at the PhD, I actually didn't answer that question. Uh, the stress of trying to teach and get a PhD. Now that was stressful because I had uh, children with learning disabilities, which is challenging, and I was going to school full time
Mm.
to get my PhD. So that was about what, 6 years by the time you go through all of it, of absolute craziness. My husband would like slide my food basically in the door, you know. I didn't see him at all. So
Wow.
he was really glad when I graduated. So anyway, I just wanted to answer that. Yes, it was very stressful, a long process. I'm very proud of it, but yeah, it was very expensive, and I'm not sure I would do it again, although I was the first person in my family to get a degree at all, and to take it that high for me is important, and I hope that it will encourage others in my family to follow.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, kudos to you for doing that as well. So speaking of your family, so do you have any like younger relatives that are like, oh no, my aunt was in Halloween, like this is her. Like, do you have people kind of brag about knowing you a little bit?
Well, here's the thing, to keep everybody safe, I haven't really told them. So I know my boys did not know. One of them, his wife actually found out. So that one was given away by his wife. The other one, I think my granddaughter, she knows. So she's probably spilled the beans too. So they probably know now, but they did not know when they were young. And my niece knew when she got older.
Mhm.
My great niece does not know. So it's kind of interesting that, and I have a lot of friends that don't know. So sometimes it's just safer for me and them if everybody in my circle doesn't know, because people do get stalked and bad things happen. So I need to be careful for them and for me.
I mean, that is true. So like, I mean, that has to be difficult. I mean, like, so how do you keep it? Because like everybody, like I feel like knows you. So like, how do they not like see the movie and be like, Sandy Johnson, hey, that's I don't know, but you're doing a great job of keeping it under wraps. So I
Well,
mean,
well, I was very young, and I wouldn't say that most of the people I know are horror fans.
okay.
Now, a lot of them are now, of course, because I have fans and I'm friends with a lot of them. But prior to that, a lot of my friends probably were not horror fans, so they probably never watched Halloween. And I was a lot younger. So I think it just, I have a really good friend. She's like my best friend in Texas. And I told her like a year ago, and we've been friends for like 25 years, totally blew her away.
Wow.
Well,
I mean, you're just
so
a person that could keep a secret. So I mean, we people can trust you with secrets. You're not gonna spill the beans. Wow,
no, I
that
keep secrets.
is amazing. So can you tell me about so some of your films that you've been in actually? So how has it been working in kind of pull one up here? So I know you were in Gas Pump Girls. So how was that?
Gas Pump Girls was a blast. Kirsten from Kirsten Baker from, let's see, what was she in? She was in Friday the 13th.
Mhm.
And she was the lead in it, and she was an absolute doll. We had the best time. All of the ladies in it at the gas station, we just had the best time. The music was blaring the whole time. We were dancing, and just that was a really fun movie to make. We we got to dress in fun outfits, and just, yeah, it was back when it was more carefree. There weren't all the things that there are now saying you can't do this or it's demeaning and all of that stuff. It wasn't looked at it that way. We were just
Mhm.
out there having a good time, flirting with the people that came up to get gas, and trying to help her uncle at the gas station, because we needed, the big fancy one was across the street and his was run down, but he needed money. So we were trying to steal the people from the fancy gas station.
I mean, I love the premise of that film. So I mean, so how long did that shoot take to completely do?
I think we were there a few days, not very long.
Okay, well, cool. Yeah, no, that don't seem too bad. So, Surfer Girls, what can you tell us about Surfer Girls?
Surfer Girls was a 3D film, and I actually didn't feel comfortable on that set. They made me feel uncomfortable and were kind of pushy about stuff. So that was probably my least favorite experience on a film.
Ah, got you. I mean, are you? Can you talk about any of the moments that made you feel uncomfortable? Like, was it just people acting a certain way, or was it like crew members?
Um, the director was, I don't know, he was too forward with me. He wasn't professional, and I
Mhm.
just felt uncomfortable that he wasn't professional.
Gotcha. I mean, being young and Playboy model. I mean, I guess it kind of comes with the territory, even though it shouldn't. So I
Right.
mean, definitely understand there. So what about Hots? Now this one I have seen, and so to like again to be able to talk to you is like amazing because that's one of my favorite films. So like, so how was that working on that set?
Hots was a lot like Gas Pump Girls. Everybody there was really nice. We had a great director. We did a lot of fun stuff with, I mean, we had like a pool party, and we had that hot air balloon, and we did the pie fight from the hot air balloon. And, I mean, the whole thing was just crazy fun. And the pepper and all of the fun stuff. So yeah, that was another one that I thoroughly enjoyed making.
Nice. Now, if it wasn't for, acting or being a model and, PhD, what would you think you'd be doing?
Um, well, if I'd got my way, I would have been a professional dancer. And now, of course, I couldn't be doing that now. So, wow. I guess I might have started out as a teacher. I did always, when I was a little kid, I always played teacher in school and all that stuff. So I found it fun to teach things. And I've always taught classes of one sort or another. So
Mhm.
yeah, I probably just would have become a teacher earlier on and stayed up with it.
So, what's been some of your favorite subjects to teach about?
Science. I was a science teacher. I taught environmental science, which is what I taught at the college level, and just science in general. I taught general science, so there was some chemistry,
Mm.
some biology, some a little bit of everything, and it was all hands-on. I taught middle school, so we did it all hands-on. We built and shot rockets. I worked at a private school, so I had a lot of freedom to really get it out of the textbook and into the field. So we had a very good time.
Nice, nice. So now, what would your legacy, or what do you want people to say when they think of the name Sandy Johnson? What do you want people to remember about you the most?
Boy, that's a tough one. Um, Obviously, I'm very proud of being Judith Myers, and being an actress, but I think making the difference in the lives of children with learning differences is super important too. I think that one has made a lot of difference. I've seen it in the kids. They have come back to me to thank me, and ones that have been very successful have said some extremely kind things to me as adults. So that one's pretty hard to top.
For sure. No, I mean, it looks like you live a beautiful life and you're still doing very good. I mean, so how does it feel to even to this day to still have, such an influence on so many people?
Um, I guess it's that thing of a life well lived. I have had a life well lived. It had a very rough start. I have missed my parents through all of it. For the most part, they've missed everything, but they taught me well. They left me with a lot to go on, and I've used it. So it has been a good life, and I'm grateful for that. So yeah, I hope it's not over yet, but I certainly don't really have any regrets.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and I feel like, just hearing a little bit of your life story, I would definitely have no regrets. Like I said, you've done some remarkable things, and even to this day, years later, you still have a fan base behind you because you embodied Judith Myers among being a Playboy model as well. So, what's next for you in the future? Like, are you thinking about getting back into filming? Like maybe a small role in, let's say, Halloween, perhaps.
Well, I tried for Halloween, but they didn't take me. But I've actually done a couple of short parts in films in the last couple of years. I've done two or three that I did via Zoom during COVID. And I think that they'll probably be out this year. I have some other bigger projects that I'm very excited about. They're independent films, but great roles. I really like the roles that are coming to me. So hopefully sometime this year, I will be filming some of those on location rather than Zoom.
Zoom. So, can you elaborate a little bit on the films that are possibly coming out this year?
Yes, I am supposed to be going to New Zealand at some point to make a film called Squeal that is about a giant eel that lives in the water. And
Nice.
I'm kind of a wild and crazy outback lady. Um, and it's a great role. I'll have a good time with it. And then let's see, what else? I'm supposed to be doing one called The Executioner. That one is, I think that one's Florida. And I play a psychiatrist for a very deranged child. And then I just did one. It was an audio recording for a film called Paradolia, which was from the UK. And I played a late night DJ. And yeah, they're wrapping that one up now. So yeah, I've got more coming up. They're listed on my website, and hopefully they will all come through.
Nice. Now, speaking of your website, so for all the fans out there that's going to watch this a little bit later on, where can we go to keep up to date with what Miss Johnson's doing?
You can go to unicornsandyj.com, and on there you can get autographed photos. You can send in something like a poster or something to get it autographed and sent back to you. You can watch podcasts that I've been in, interviews. What else can you do on there? You can, oh, I just added a lot of Halloween collectibles, like Michael Myers mask and the young Michael mask. And I actually created a collectible of my own. The last second that Judith was alive, she was brushing her hair. So I have taken a hairbrush and I'm splattering it to look very realistic and autographing it as Judith's brush. So I just released those 2 weeks ago, and I sold out like so fast. So now they're on back order, but I have a lot of people pre-ordering them. So as soon as I get some more in, I'll be doing them again. So each one is unique because obviously blood splatter is always different. So
Oh,
that's been fun.
that's awesome. So do you keep up to date with any of your cast members like Nick Castle or anybody associated with the Halloween franchise? Like, do you guys stay in contact?
We see each other at conventions every year. So when we're together, yeah, usually we get together, have a drink, or we visit at the photo ops while we're waiting for people. And a lot of times our tables are close together. So yeah, we have a really good time. Other than that, I mean, everybody's busy, but it's always a fun reunion when we get together at conventions.
Nice, nice. So just like your social media handles, I know you said your website, but you do have Instagram and Facebook. And so for the fans, where can they go to find you on other social media outlets?
Okay, Facebook is The Real Sandy Johnson, and Unicorn Sandy J is also my Instagram. So it's the same, except it has a .com if you're going to the website. My agent, when he found me, he'd been looking for me for like 8 years. So he said I was his unicorn, his mythical, magical creature that he thought he would never find. So I thought that was so cute that's why I use that. So it's Unicorn Sandy J because he named me that.
That's awesome. You should probably start selling little unicorn now. That's cute.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's awesome that you're still touring and doing conventions now. What's been your favorite convention thus far?
Oh, wow. Of course, my very first one is very special. In 2018, I did Halloween 40. So that was the 40-year anniversary. And I had just gone to the premiere a week before that for Halloween 2018. So that whole thing was crazy. And that's when I started meeting my fans and everything. So that one is really special. I did UK year before last, and For the Love of Horror, which was amazing. And then we stayed an extra 10 days and traveled, and just, it was wonderful. The people were so amazing. We just had the best time. The people were wonderful there. And the con was huge and fun too. And let's see, Chicago was very cool when I did Texas Frightmare. I mean, they're just, Steel City Con last year. I got to see John Carpenter for the first time since we did the filming, which was amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
That long since y'all seen each other?
Yes. So yeah, it's been an incredible 4 years now, I guess, since I got back into this. So they're all really special. Every one of them. There hasn't been a single con that I haven't met amazing people and had the best time at.
Nice. Okay, so then that means we could see you possibly this year at the 45th, maybe?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Okay, definitely looking forward to it. I mean, just them announcing it, I've been so excited because I have yet to actually meet you in person. So I'm actually looking forward to maybe getting to see you at the 45th. I mean, so it's just so much. Like, do you like horror movies, or are you a fan of horror, or are you just like had the role and was kind of done?
No, actually, I've liked horror movies since I was probably about 8. My dad took me to see my first one, which was The Blob, and it was at a drive-in in Oklahoma during a hailstorm. So it definitely left memories. I was terrified for all of those reasons. He also took me to see Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, which is one of the scariest, terrifying psychological thrillers ever. And so from there, I graduated to things like The Exorcist and Psycho, and so yeah, I've always been a fan.
And since Halloween, did you ever audition for any other horror movies that were coming up during that time?
I didn't because I left town very quickly after that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, no worries. So, and just moving forward, so how has it been? I mean, just embracing just fans and all the love that you get for being, Judith Myers.
Uh, it's hard to put it into words. I mean, it's incredible, of course. The energy that they give me is just amazing. I mean, I can feel the energy, and it makes me so happy to be there. I could meet them for hours and hours and hours. I never get tired of meeting new fans and seeing fans again that I've met before and
Mhm.
signing things for them and hearing their stories. I mean, it never gets old. I love it. So yeah, they're amazing. It's such a family. um, the horror family is so cool. I mean, there's so many people that have become friends now that so I have fan friends. I
I,
have a
I
whole big
like
family of friends.
for sure. And just in closing, so is there anything that other than the movies that you have that are coming out, anything else that us fans can look forward to in the future from Miss Johnson?
Well, I hope that there will be lots of films and ones that I have amazing roles in. If I get some of these that are coming up, I think they'll be really nice movies and great roles. And I hope they'll buy my hairbrushes, because I think that that's the one collectible that is truly related to Judith. Judith has nothing else. She has a tombstone, but it's in a scene with Annie, not
Mhm.
Judith. And so everything that I sign most of the time is actually related to someone else in the movie or the franchise. But the hairbrush I designed especially for Judith.
That's true. And since you said that, I will definitely be trying to pre-order one today because that's something I gotta add to my collection. Now, so with the new release of or the remakes of Halloween, are you a fan of that new franchise, or are you like, because I talked to Sandy King last November, and she said no comment. So I don't know how all of the original cast from Halloween feel about the newer Halloween franchise.
Well, I will tell you that I loved 2018. I really did. I thought um, I thought it was really interesting. I thought Laurie's house was amazing, with
Mhm.
the area downstairs underneath the island that turned around, and how all the doors could fall and lock. And some of the scenes, like when he picks up the Michael mask out of the trunk at the gas station, I mean, the
Mhm.
chills just, wah, you know, so they're, and at the sanitarium when they hold the mask up and all of the, everybody's, you know, hitting the ground and chanting. I mean, that was an amazing scene. So there were definitely a lot of things about that movie that I liked.
And how did you feel about Halloween Ends? Like, did you get satisfied that it kind of came to a close, or was there still some answers that you were looking for?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I was just sad to say goodbye to Michael. Maybe that was my problem.
For sure. I felt like, that Michael didn't get his flowers. I felt like he kind of deserved. Um, Again, it was sad to see, this franchise kind of come to a close. I just feel like it wasn't as satisfying as many of us would have liked. Like, I would have loved for them to kind of bring you back into the picture for, like, like a flashback type of scene that we just didn't get. And I don't know. So just like, what would be your opinion? Like, what would you would have done a little bit differently in Halloween Ends?
Well, it was kind of like a diary. I mean, it kind of read like a diary to me, Laurie's diary. And I don't know, to me, that was kind of boring. A little bit of that probably would have been okay, but I would have liked more. Um, and it seemed like he just killed everybody. I don't know. It didn't seem like Michael to me. The Michael
Mhm.
that I love is the Michael that's unpredictable. He can walk by one person and then, you know, turn around and kill somebody else. You never knew what he was thinking. And that one, it just seemed like he just, massacred everybody.
Yeah.
And to me, that kind of lost the essence of what made Michael so scary.
Well said. I'm right there with you. It felt like in the beginning and the older ones that, he were more methodical about, his kills, and kind of it turned into like a massacre fest, in Halloween Kills. He's just in the middle of the street, kind of just going at it. So, I mean, I definitely agree with you there. But I mean, so anything else you want to say to the fans out there? I know, we got the brushes that everybody's about to run and pre-order now. Is there anything else you want to say to the amazing Halloween fans?
I just appreciate all of them so much. They have been an amazing support system. I mean, they cried with me when my kitty died. I mean, they're like family, and I cry for them when their kitties die. So I just appreciate them so much. They're amazing. I appreciate them following me and interacting with me and going to conventions. I know they're expensive. And I just love that they go out and they save to do that and they get autographs, and that we all have so much fun together. Conventions are amazing, and I'm grateful for them because then I actually get to see the fans and not just on social media. Although that's fun and I love it, it's not quite the same as really being there with them and talking to them.
Yes, ma'am. I definitely agree with you there. It has been a true pleasure. So I'm actually going to stop the recording, just because I have some little ones that want to say hello to you. If that,
Oh, absolutely.
um, yeah. All right. So